My Black and Latino content creators, I think it's very important that you guys remember that we are all talking about Ashley Gonzalez right now, and while it is a very important conversation, there are bots out there that are making our community look bad, both sides. And I'm saying this because I made a post, and in the comments, it's literally bots fighting each other at some point. Okay, and lastly, fighting racism with racism is not gonna do shit. I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, y'all are freaking crazy.
Exactly. A lot of no sabo kids are like, oh, my parents don't want me to have black friends. They're racist. And then they go and tell this to their black friends, whatever. And then this keeps growing. But they don't understand that those parents were the ones who came from Mexico or from their country. They didn't speak the language and they were assaulted. I'm not inventing this. A lot of people who, like, they take advantage, especially if they know you don't speak the language, you don't speak English, they assault you, and they know you're not gonna call the cops, you're not gonna do anything. It happened to me when I came from Mexico. I was assaulted. There were other black people who helped me. No one helped me. And this has happened to the older people that didn't speak the language. This is why they don't like some black people. It's not that.
Remember how I said the Houston Police Department firing Ashley Gonzalez for that video with the racist rant saying that she hates black people, comparing black people to chimps, using the N-word left, right, and center, every which way but loose, that story wasn't over. Well, here you go. More updates. So a lot of you were asking about her military service because she did serve with the Marine Corps from 2019 to 2023. And when she left, she was an E4 or a corporal. So the answer is, this is not going to impact her military service because once you're discharged from the military, you're no longer under the jurisdiction of the branch or the military. So once you've left service, there's nothing that can happen to you in that jurisdiction. So her service is not going to be affected. Her service as a police officer could be. And now we know that the DA here in Houston says that, you know what, they are going to review every single case that she was involved in with those 2 years that she was here with Houston Police Department. So they're going to go through those case by cases and look for things that they say would lead to questions about her reliability and her credibility. So they're going to look at the cases for the 2 years she was with Houston Police Department, but also she can still be a police officer in a different city, in a different jurisdiction, in a different state. Now, Houston Mayor John Whitmire says that he's actually referring this to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement to have her peace officer certification revoked. There is a national database for revocation. So if you have your peace officer certification pulled, then every jurisdiction, every city across the state, across the country would know about it. And it is still possible that you could get hired in that situation, but it is very, very unlikely. More updates to come. Hope that helps. I'm Lena, your news anchor bestie. Follow me if you care about this stuff.
You all know about how they fired a Mexican cop, Ashley Gonzalez. So the war is still between Black community and Latinos or Hispanics. I don't know why they don't like each other, yet they share the same history. Watch this.
And let's just sit here and be real. Let's say the quiet part out loud. I'll do it. The thing about people like Ashley Gonzalez is that there's a whole lot more of her that exists in the Latino community. Of all Latinos, anti-blackness really needs to be worked on in our community. I think it's great when I see like comments and people saying like, oh, we don't associate with her. We don't count her in our group. Actually, there's a lot more of her, sadly. I've been speaking on this for years and years and years. The anti-blackness needs to end, and the racist ideologies that y'all tios and tias and primas and y'all let that shit slide so much. And the person who exposed Ashley Gonzalez on her close friends, we need more of that. You need to be actively calling out your friends, your family, your partners, whoever. I'm really sick of just getting on here. I don't know how many times I've had to say this.
Black folks, I wanted to wait so I can get my thoughts together before I spoke on that Ashley Gonzalez situation here in Texas. See, I wanted to see how many Hispanics would actually respond and say she was wrong first, but I knew the answer. Y'all didn't. And honestly, I'm not understanding why so many of y'all are shocked. Why are y'all surprised that Hispanics would say something like that? Haven't I been telling y'all we don't have any friends? And why are y'all even more shocked that folks in that same community ain't came out and said nothing? How come y'all think they were going to correct her when that go on in their houses all the time? See, if you've been following me for any amount of time, I have already told y'all this. I tell y'all this all the time, but y'all want your feelings to get hurt. We do not have any friends, especially here in Texas. This type of racism from Hispanics towards Black people, it ain't new, y'all. It's regular and it's common and it's been happening. Mexicans don't like Black folks. So what I'm trying to figure out is this: why do y'all keep acting surprised every damn time somebody come out and say the quiet part out loud? Oh, y'all just expected it from white folks? See, because some of y'all are still inviting people to the cookout just because they know our music, rap and sing and dance and all this old kind of stuff. Just because they copy our style. See, that's not solidarity, y'all. That is proximity. Liking Black culture is not the same thing as respecting Black people. How many times do I have to say this? And until y'all understand the difference, moments like this are going to keep catching you off guard, keep making you feel some kind of way. It's 1,000 Ashley Gonzalez's. They didn't just pop out of nowhere, y'all. She represents something that a lot of y'all pretend don't exist. And the truth is this: Hispanics, y'all, are more racist towards Black communities than Caucasians. But some of y'all are still too friendly to even recognize what's happening right in front of y'all face. I'm Dr. O, y'all, and I'm out.
I want to talk about the Ashley Gonzalez situation because a lot of Mexicans and other Hispanic people are saying that Black Americans are using this moment to go at Mexican people. They're saying that they're using the Ashley Gonzalez video as an excuse to do what they've done all along. And Black Americans, we're not perfect. No group of people is, but I feel like we're a very welcoming culture. And here's 3 examples. First one is Snoop Dogg, one of the most successful rappers of all time.
Me and Jesus whipping through the Molly. Yes, we on the West again. It wouldn't be LA without Mexicans. Black love, brown pride in the sets again.
The second example is Tupac, one of the most successful rappers of all time.
It wouldn't be LA without Mexicans. Black love, brown pride in the sets again. Deep will.
The third example is DMX, one of the most successful rappers of all time. He did this video as a tribute to his Mexican friend Kato.
God no. Those that I call my friends, praying for all my friends, things I do for my friends. We miss you.
If you're a Mexican who's watching this video, can you give me an example of a Mexican celebrity or superstar who pays this type of homage to the Afro-Mexicans? Probably not. And I'm not racist, and that's why I disagree with Dr. Umar on a lot of things. He believes that only Black people should be able to do hip hop. And I don't agree with that, but I do agree with his statement that basically anybody can come in our culture and become a superstar, but we can't do that. We can't go into other cultures and be accepted that way. So while we're definitely not perfect, no group of people is, I feel like we definitely show a lot more love than we get. And another reason I wanted to talk about this Ashley Gonzalez situation is because a lot of Hispanics and specifically Mexicans are saying that her crash out was legitimate. They're saying she said what she said because she probably had bad experiences with Black people. And that may be the case, but to kind of sit here and lie and say that anti-blackness and anti-dark skin is not a normal and acceptable part of Hispanic culture is a lie. And I actually got interested in racism within Hispanic culture when I was a teenager. And that's because I grew up watching the Steve Harvey show. And on that show, one of the main characters is a kid named Romeo. And he's actually played by a Black Latino named Merlin Santana. who died back in the early 2000s. And I always thought that was interesting because in school we don't learn about Black Latinos. We don't learn about Black people from Mexico or Puerto Rico. So it was all really fascinating to me. And I could go into detail about the things that I've read on the situation, but I'm just going to let the Black Latinos speak for themselves. And all three that I'm using as examples are celebrities. The reason why I pick celebrities is because if I point to Black Latinos on TikTok who are saying the same thing, y'all are just going to say, oh, they're doing it for clicks or they're just trying to be divisive. But these people are celebrities and they don't need your clicks. The first one I picked is Laz Alonso. He's an Afro-Cuban who plays on the hit show called The Boys.
And Juju has also fought that same fight and that same struggle, which is basically explaining, you know, the plight of the Black Latino, you know, which is not very different from the plight of an African American. You know, only it exists with a lot less freedom fighters, so to speak. You know, and people that'll speak out on behalf. You know, if you turn on like a lot of Latin networks, you're not going to see people that look like us on there.
Yeah. It's true.
You know, you turn on a lot of their award shows, Latin billboards, you ain't going to see the same performance that you see on the regular billboards, the same color people that you see on the regular billboards that you'll see it on the Latin billboards. You're just not going to see it. You know, so it's a problem that while it may not be, and I don't want to make it sound like it's something that's malicious or intentional, but it is the product of colonization.
The second example is NORE, famous rapper and host of the podcast Drink Champs.
I put my whole career on the line to show Puerto Ricans I'm Puerto Rican. And they didn't even play my record.
Well, no, are you sure it's not all in your head?
No. No.
The third example is Amara El Negra. She's an Afro-Dominican singer.
Latino with a shovel or on a roof or cutting grass, like it's just automatic. Like that image is just there. And nobody ever pauses to ask who put that there. Because we all know that association didn't just appear naturally. It was built. And once you see how it was built, you just can't unsee it. So let's go back. 1848. The U.S. wins the war with Mexico and steals a huge chunk of its land. California, New Mexico, and what becomes Arizona, Nevada, Utah. The border shifts. Texas had already been annexed earlier, but the treaty locks the Rio Grande in as the boundary. So a lot of Mexican families didn't just move here in a way that the dumb people like to frame it as. The map moved. Like they say, they didn't cross the border crossed them. And suddenly they're living in the United States without ever crossing anything, right? But once that land was claimed, the power structure needed labor. Railroads, mining, agriculture. And Mexican labor just became convenient, close enough to pull in, easy enough to push out, cheap enough to exploit, replaceable enough to threaten. Now that pattern started early, right? But then World War II hits. American men go overseas, but the farm production here, that matters. Because in 1942, the U.S. creates the Bracero program. They literally recruit Mexican men to come work in the railroads and the fields. They contract them, they process them, and then they put them to work. But pay attention to what was valued, right? Their strength, their endurance, their backs. Not long-term stability, not political belonging, not generational wealth, just labor. And then the switch flips. Because by the 1950s, this country is still benefiting from Mexican labor, while politically performing crackdowns at the same time. 1954. The operation with the word that I'm not going to say. Yeah. Mass immigration sweeps, deportations, voluntary returns under pressure. The message wasn't subtle. We need your hands. We don't need you. And when a country repeats that cycle long enough, it doesn't just become policy. It becomes perception. It becomes stereotype. Then the media does what the media does. Decade after decade, Latinos are shown as landscapers, construction workers, janitors, kitchen staff, housekeepers. Rarely the architect, rarely the developer, rarely the CEO. And when you repeat something long enough, people start calling it just how it is. Like it's cultural, like it's natural. And here's where I need to be clear. Because manual labor is absolutely 110% unequivocally honorable. Building houses, honorable. Growing food, honorable. Keeping cities running, honorable. The issue is not the work. The issue is shrinking millions of people down to the work. Reducing whole communities to what their bodies can produce, because Latino communities are also doctors, lawyers, engineers, professors, public officials, entrepreneurs. But stereotypes don't care about range, do they? They care about hierarchy. If you can associate a group with physical labor, you quietly imply that's your lane. Stay there. And that implication didn't fall from the sky. It came from land seizures, labor programs, deportation cycles, media repetition. It came from systems that benefited from keeping certain people in certain roles. So when somebody says, oh, that's okay, that's just what they do. Nah, man, that's what history funneled them into. That's what policy rewarded. That's what vulnerability made available. And the more we pretend that it's organic, the more we protect the system that built it. That image, it was constructed. And once you understand that, you stop confusing structure for culture.
Talk about racism from the Black Americans towards Mexicans? No. First of all, never tell me how to run my channel. You can definitely make your own. I will talk about Ashley, though, the content creator that makes video after video after video speaking about racism against the Mexican community, right? So if she can speak out against racism against my community, I can definitely hold my own community accountable when it's being racist. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go on her page. I want you to check out her videos. I want you to like, share, repost, and comment. And don't forget to hit that follow button.
Seeing a bunch of Latino creators talking about how she's not a representation.
I'm going to speak for myself, and I know I'm going to speak for a lot of my followers. And if you don't agree with me, you can go ahead and unfollow me, because what I'm about to tell you, you may like or you may not like. And frankly, I honestly don't care. I saw the video of the cop, and oh my God, she doesn't represent me at all. But she does represent a lot of the colorism that exists within our community and that is not talked about. So like this creator said in his video, check your people so we don't have to. So that's what I'ma fucking do. It is so easy to Google search the history that Mexicans have with the Black community. Not only going back to slavery, but it doesn't hurt a little bit to learn about it. Now going back to the cop. Like, girl, have you not read a textbook or have you not Google searched what happened during slavery? Because let me tell you that it was not only slavery. And it was not only racism. It was horrific shit way beyond that. Let me remind you that this didn't happen long ago. Just to put you an example, I'm gonna leave you Ruby Bridges' TikTok, because this was the first little girl that went to an all-white school, and she's still alive. How can you ask them to not be mad? How can you not be mad? And if you guys are not mad at all, you should. This hasn't always been their fight, and it should have never been only their fight. They still have to deal with the cop brutality. They still have to deal with medical negligence just because of their skin color. And it is beyond crazy that you are not mad that their children have to grow up with fearing cops. And I know that a lot of our people stood with them when Black Lives Matter, and now y'all are mad that they're not standing with us, that they left us alone. But I don't blame them. I honestly don't. And I don't think that this division between the people of color should exist. And it might sound ironic due to the fact that I am exposing Latino mega businesses, but it's not the same, because they are the ones wanting to be white. Not us from this side. We still have morals, we still have values, and of course we still have fucking empathy, because we're still human. So please, this is everyone's fight, whether you like it or not.
I hope a lot of Hispanics, at least in these past 3 days, have seen the amount of videos that I have seen and the hate that we have been receiving, our community has been receiving these past 3 days or so. I genuinely hope that you guys have opened your eyes by now. I hope that as a collective, we learn that we have to be united. We have to unite. In the United States, Hispanics in the United States, we have to unite. We have to stop the divisions and within each other. Oh, because you're from this country, I'm from this country, due to our color of skin, our race, our background, our ethnicity. We are all Hispanics at the end of the day. Because the minute you open your mouth, regardless if it's white people, as in white Americans or black Americans, the minute you open your mouth and they hear your accent and they can tell, oh, this is not one of us, we're going to get pushed away. Because it's not only white people pushing us away. And this is good for your asses, especially you, the ones that like to be lambones, you know, lambiendo, like we say in the Caribbean, lambiendo the white or the black people. We have each other. And this is in no way, shape, or form trying to push division. This is not what I'm saying, because I know there's going to be somebody that's going to try to twist it. It's me saying at the end of the day, regardless if you're Mexican, if you're Dominican, if you're Bolivian, if you're Argentinian, if you are a Cuban, Colombian, we are all Hispanics. We have each other. At the end of the day, when something happens, we have each other here in the United States. Just like black Americans stick together, just like white Americans stick together, we have to learn to stick together. And a lot of the problem, and I'm going to say straight up, that we have right now in the Hispanic community is that we have a percentage of people that want to kiss the ass of other groups. I don't understand why, whether it's the Hispanics that want to kiss the ass of black Americans and they believe that they have to be accepted or validated to sit at a table. I don't know why they want to sit at a table. One thing is us being, unified or having love for each other, respect for each other. That's one thing, I can appreciate you, your contributions, what you've done, your history, whatever. I don't have to be you. I don't have to push agendas for you or do what's best for you as a Hispanic. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Hispanic and I have to look out for my people. A lot of you lambones, whether you kiss the ass of the blacks, like I said, black Americans, or you kiss the ass of the white Americans and you think that your blonde hair dye is going to give you a seat at their table, regardless of which ones, it's a problem. Because what we are is a mixed race people. We are the children of Spain, we are the children of Africa, and we are the children of the indigenous Americans. We have all these three races within our blood and our DNA. And that's okay. It is okay to be mixed. I don't have to choose which race I like more. I'm Hispanic, period. And being a Hispanic is literally being a child of these three races, regardless which one you have more of. You may have more white in you, but it doesn't mean that you don't have a native somewhere in there. You may have more black in you, but it doesn't mean that European ancestor isn't swimming somewhere within your DNA. And we are a representation of unity. Because our culture, our language, our customs, and our history unite us as an ethnicity. And when we learn to be unified as a people, together, regardless of our country, in the United States, things are going to be better for us. And when we learn to respect our cultures as in where our parents came from, and respect and defend and push those cultures, things are going to be better for us. But as long as we have these lambones that want to be kissing the ass of other groups because they want validation or I want to be accepted with you. Until we have those type of Hispanics, nothing is going to change. I am Latina, 100% Hispanic, hispana, 100%, orgullosa, proud of who I am. Al 100%, 10 toes down Hispanic, and nobody is taking that from me. Nobody is taking that from me. Good day.
I feel like everybody's playing games right now, so I'm just going to be the real one and call it for what it is, okay? Both of our communities are fucking racist. Black American communities, yeah, we can be ignorant and racist sometimes. And the same goes for the Latino community. And let me break that down for y'all real quick. Latinos might be minorities in the U.S., but in their home countries, they're usually not the minorities. The minorities in most Latino countries are the Afro-Indigenous and Indigenous people. The way that the Latinos treat these communities in their home countries is very similar to the way that the U.S. treats their Black and Indigenous communities in the U.S. That's why they come to the U.S. with a lot of anti-Blackness. If you're a Latino, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. In your community, there is a lot of anti-Blackness. Okay, mejora la raza. Like, don't play in my face. We all know that this is true. Whether you are actively, ignorant and racist, that is up to discussion. That's up to you. However, you were raised with a little bit of anti-Blackness. We know it's true. And Black people, trying to pretend like there aren't anti-Black people is actually the most ridiculous thing ever. There are Black people that would sell out their own us to tap dance for the white man, okay? That also goes towards Latino. Being such an oppressed group in the United States, when we get any opportunity of like even a remnants of power, try to exercise that. And so by being US citizens, especially right now in this day and age, being US citizens, we've definitely seen police officers and even like politicians weaponize the fact that we're US citizens and some Latinos aren't, and therefore we deserve more rights or whatever the case may be. I think that it's so important that we call out these losers in our communities. I think that it is time, and what I've seen, which I love, shout out to y'all, is that everybody needs to just call out all the racists in your community. Like, we just can't let these losers roam free anymore. You gotta start putting belt to ass or something.
All right, it's me, Chico Dion. Right now, I'm speaking about the Ashley Gonzalez situation. For those who don't know, I'm the one with the Family Dollar, where the little girl was talking bad about black folks in Spanish, and I had to check that shiggity. So, about Ashley Gonzalez, the way she talked about black folks, man, that's the norm. I'm gonna say this first: all Mexicans ain't like that, but a bunch of them are. See, I've heard them same conversations, how she spoke about black folks in English. I've heard them same conversations all my life here in Texas in Spanish. I was raised in Texas. I was raised in Houston. So, and I'm going to say it straight up, yeah, it's a bunch of racism. See, I told Isaiah Carey when he asked me that on his show, he said that I think it was a bunch of racism between, against us who was in the Hispanic community. I told him this, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I ain't going to do it. I refuse to do it. Like I say, if my ears could speak, man, boy, they'll tell you some hell of a stories. It ain't, man, I'm like, as a kid, I remember being on a city bus and I would hear these people speak bad about black people and stuff, you know what I'm saying? In the penitentiary, I'm like, it's even worse, you know, we everything from Chango, Mayate, Mayuga to Tirachos to Chapapote is tar. You know, I've heard all of it. So the way she spoke in English about us, that's the way they speak about us in Spanish. Trust me, I know. And that's why I told Isaiah Carey, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I ain't gonna do it. Man, like I say, I look, I've heard that stuff so much that the wax in my ears have been melted. I don't even get wax in my ears no more because I've heard so much racism from them people towards us speaking in Spanish. So the way she spoke about us in English, man, that's why they talk about us in Spanish. And that's why I checked that little girl that day, but I was just trying to let her know, you know, man, at this day of time, it's a bunch of us around here, man. So, like I say, I was raised in Houston before a bunch of Afro-Latinos even popped up, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Colombian. I was raised here. So I know the culture. And I ain't gonna sit up and say, no, it ain't racism, it ain't a bunch of racism. I'll be lying if I say that. And that's why my response was to Isaiah Carey, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I just refuse to do that. Hey, it is what it is. Sea lo que sea. You know, I'm gonna say so. I remember one time, this little girl cut for me, Mexican girl cut for me. She was telling her mama, I mean, Chico. And I remember going in the house and I remember her mama saying, ¿Quién es el negrito ese? She know who that little nigga right there, you know what I'm saying? She said, oh, este es Chico. I said, tú eres Chico. I said, sí, yo soy Chico. They don't let tú eres. Now, oh, you Chico. Now it became all right because I started speaking Spanish. Once again, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right, then I don't want to be all right. Hey, man, with that said, y'all stay blessed. Get back witching like always. Bye-ya, bye-ya.
Oh, but not all Latinos are racist. Oh my God, like that's just one person. She doesn't represent all of us. Really, y'all? Can we look at the 2024 presidential election? How many Latinos voted for Trump? 48%, and 50% of Latino men voted for Trump. So clearly there's so much unpacking, resolving, some fixing that we have to do within ourselves to combat racism, not just within our families, but within our whole culture. Because 50% of Latinos is a lot of people. And then you're gonna be like, oh my God, I only voted for like economic shit. Oh my God, girl, it doesn't matter. You still voted for racism. And also the privilege you have in being able to choose between economic issues rather than human rights issues already speaks to where you feel within all of these issues. Because you're agreeing that you do benefit from the system and it does not affect you the same way as it does to Black people. So I don't know what else to tell you right there. Like, we just got to do fucking better. And then a lot of y'all are just going to ignore this. You're going to laugh about this. You're going to make your jokes. You're going to go and say the N-word. And then you're going to get mad when Black people don't want to come and help us out when it comes to like ICE raids and like immigration, shit like that. Like, It doesn't work like that. You can't just expect a group of people to come and save you when you're constantly being racist towards them and internalizing all of that racism within your own spaces. Like, that's not how it works. We can't expect people to do and help us out whenever we want, but then ignore and choose when we want to talk about these issues. That's not how it works. And then you're going to get mad when they call us out on our racist shit, but then you don't want to do the work. Again, what are we doing here? What's going on? Like, what's not getting through our heads? We gotta do fucking better.
So the other day I made a video about Ashley Gonzalez and how she doesn't represent us as Latinos or Mexicanos. Well, I was fucking wrong, because I woke up today seeing all these comments over TikTok on videos, people who look like me, even darker than me, agreeing with Ashley Gonzalez, saying she was right, saying that it's all black fatigue. Just because one person of color, of a different color, is starting shit or talking shit, they even done it to me. I'm not gonna judge a whole race like that. Y'all fucking disgust me. Y'all fucking disgust me, and I apologize on behalf of the Latino community. It's fucking gross. And another thing I want to say is that as a community, people of color being oppressed, we should be fighting together, not fighting each other. Come on, guys. Please do better. Please.
So let's talk about anti-blackness and how it is very prevalent in our Latino community. Ashley Gonzalez is definitely a representative of a portion of our community. And unfortunately, that portion is very loud. And it's made louder by the silence of the rest of us. Both anti-blackness and the colorism that runs in our community is a remnant of the colonization. When the Spanish came over, they set up a caste system. And this caste system made whiteness a symbol of status and something to be sought after. That is why you see the proximity to whiteness in so many Latinos and Latinos who claim to be white. And let's get this straight, you coconuts will never be white, and they will never embrace you like they do their own. Anti-blackness and colorism are a scourge in our community, and not only do they harm those of a darker complexion, they also harm us. So whenever one of our black brothers and sisters feels anger or feels mistrust against us, I get it. We deserve that. We as a collective need to do better in order to not only call out, but to rid ourselves of this plague. We cannot ask them to join us when we are spreading the same white supremacist bullshit that has been forced upon us. And we cannot get angry when they call us out on it. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. So if you actually are against anti-blackness and for unity, then shut up and listen to them. Listen to their experiences. The only way forward is to acknowledge that there is a problem and to address it and fix it.
Girl, with this whole Ashley Gonzalez case, I'm just like, before any Latinos or Hispanics get in my comments about, oh, it's not all of us and it's not, yeah, I know it's not all of you. That's like, I know I'm Latina and I know it's not me. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we need to hold our people accountable. I live in Texas, okay? It's undeniable. It's undeniable. You come here to Texas, Latinos are using the word left and right. And I mean hard ER. And they say a lot of ignorant things about Black people. They disrespect Black people, all while trying to be Black most of the time. I feel like here in the United States, we associate Blackness with coolness, and a lot of Latinos that are not Black, because there is Black Latinos, but there's a lot of non-Black Latinos and non-Black Hispanic people that try to be a part of Black culture and Black community without actually liking Black people. I think this actually comes from being in a system here in the United States that only recognizes Black and white. Okay, we don't ever really recognize Latino people or Hispanic people. Therefore, we're left with so many questions about who we actually are, what we represent. We're left with so much ambiguity on what being Latino or being Hispanic actually is, because it's not a race. My family specifically is multicultural, multiracial. I grew up being very confused about my identity. I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of the problems I had came from the Latino community. The colorism, the racism, the, even just the classism in the Latino community is crazy. We often forget that Black Latinos even exist. And some of us have family members or friends who are Black Latinos and deny their African ancestry. Again, I understand that not all Latinos and Hispanics are racist, But let's look at the stats. Let's look at the data. All the people that voted for Trump this year, a majority, it was overwhelmingly Latino people that voted for Trump. And if you're Latino and you're trying to deny any of this, oh, I never grew up with that. I really want you to think about things you might have been told as a child. If you had the nickname güerita or morenita or negrita, I really want you to think of why the Latino community obsesses so much over skin color. Why does it matter if you're morenita or morenita clara or negrita? Why does it matter? I think we all need to question too, like why so many tios, tias, abuelos would tell us shit like, oh, don't go outside for too long, you don't want to be black, right? Oh, you shouldn't date black guys, you're too pretty for it, N-word, hard R. I need you guys to please stop acting oblivious. Like, stop acting like this is not a real problem in our community.
And I'm very surprised that this Ashley Gonzalez girl don't have a black boyfriend or a black husband. Cause I'm sorry, but let's keep it a buck. A lot of y'all black people that date in the Latin community, let them call y'all all types of nigga, and y'all think that is cute. But now that we see this woman using the N-word in a way that's derogatory, everybody is up in arms. The reason that Latino people are so racist against black people is really the same reason that everybody is so racist against black people. It's the constant negative stereotypes that are being fed in the media about black people. That's why there's so much colorism and classism. And I'm speaking as a black woman that's currently living in Asia. They are even colorist over here to their own people. They are fed to think that anyone darker than them is automatically poorer than them or should be a worker or that they're violent. So it's not just Latinos, it's everybody. And that's why black people get on my nerves so much, because we always want to be so inclusive and want to include everybody and everything and want to be in the mix and mix everything up. And we don't have no unity amongst each other. It's like, when are we going to realize that don't nobody really F with us for real? And that's why too, I get irritated when people try to say like, oh, the black and brown community or people of color or we're all minorities. Like, no, as black people, we really have no allies. And this is not me trying to play the victim. It's just simply a fact.
Black Americans are trying to start a race war with Latinos right now because of this Ashley Gonzalez thing, saying that
I followed you for a long time, bro, about 2 years. You kind of wishy-washy. And I'm going to say you'll diss the Latinos, you'll diss the blacks sometimes. You'll jump on the black side, you'll jump over on the Latino side. You'll jump on the Trump side and then act like you ain't got nothing to do with it, bro. I followed you so long, bro. Let me tell you something. This is not a black and Latino beef. It's a respect thing. You understand? When you hear somebody say they trained in the military to do this to us, that's she almost went into like a terrorist, like speaking like a terrorist. You just gonna say it like that. I don't want to violate no community guidelines. So y'all put all this stuff on the internet and think the blacks don't supposed to have nothing to say. It's a Mexican guy spoke out about it. I guess I don't know who he was, a high ranker or something. He said, man, he was speaking to Latinos, Hispanics. He was like, y'all put our business on the internet. But he was mad. The NK stuff with him, and I'm glad the Mexicans really jumped on this too. They jumped on this like, nah, bro. Like, nah. In the North, we ain't using that. They were saying that in the South, they mostly like that. Southern California. I watched Capone speak about it. This guy talking the same stuff Ashley was talking about, the slavery stuff. And like, dude, well, y'all keep on bringing up a slave. Like, do you know how many coaches have been slaves? Why y'all try to put that on us? The podcast about blacks getting reparations. That's a North American thing. It's not a Mexico thing. They'll have to go to Mexico and get their reparations. Because it's from the Spaniards. It's so much. Twitter has everything. It's like the feds got all this information. They make sure it go on the internet, because a lot of things can violate guidelines on any website, but they make sure the black people can see it now. And so the blacks voting different. They don't want to move with somebody that they don't think they have unity with. Plies just said the same thing. And Plies is like, I don't know who y'all with. He ain't never asked that question. Plus all the rap game stuff. We don't want to make signing no blacks. Man, that stuff is all on the internet, bro. But people say unity. So blacks found out how to fight with that pen. They already know how to fight with that pen. So they just fight with the pen, not with the sword. So you can't get mad for how they vote, what they say, and how they take action because they doing it with the pen. A judge taught me, myself, the pen is mightier than the sword, and he wasn't lying. Plus, you was in those Venezuelan videos, man, dissing those Venezuelans. The dude who posted all the money he was getting from America for free, you was on his butt. I followed you. On some Mexicans' butt. All different types of stuff, bro. So stop it. Do not say our name, bro. You're messy. And I'm glad you did that because it makes things boil down between us. And I can go get your videos. I probably still got some in my folder of yours.
I wasn't really going to speak about this Ashley Gonzalez situation because at first it seemed like a fork found in kitchen type of thing. But as it continues to unfold over these past few days, I'm starting to realize that this conversation needs a little bit more nuance applied. And I know that's a scary word for people on social media, so rock with me for a second. And I'm not claiming I'm about to dive into every possible outlier and nuance that can stem from this conversation. If that's what you're looking for, go read a fucking book. But what I am saying is if we don't have a meaningful conversation, especially us as Black Americans, then we need to approach this conversation a little bit more surgically. And I'm not saying that we wrong for calling out the racism, the colorism, and the anti-blackness in the Latino community. I'm just saying when we hear people that are part of the Latino community say, oh, Ashley Gonzalez doesn't represent us, they're not completely right, they're not completely wrong, but there is something there that we can dive into a little bit deeper. At first, we really have to understand and have a baseline that when we having a conversation about the Latino community, it's not a racial conversation, it's an ethnic conversation. And this ethnic term that describes the Latino community basically stems from groups of people that were colonized by Europeans that spoke a romantic language, whether that be French, Portuguese, or Spanish. All these languages stemming from Latin. So that's where you get this umbrella term and that's where you get this ethnicity. The problems in regards to like colorism, racism, and anti-blackness in the Latino community really comes from the fact that they want to live in this delusional world like they can ignore race and everybody can just fall under and embrace the ethnic banner that is being Latino, and that's just not the fucking case. So when we see situations like what's going on with Ashley Gonzalez, we also have to understand is there's a broad spectrum of people that are part of different racial groups that make up the Latino community. And really the primary racial groups that make up the Latino community are one, you have your your Europeans, or what I like to call your conquistadors, which are really the main representation of the Latino community. Then you have your indigenous population, which is your Taínos, your Aztec, your Mayans, those that have copper color skin. And if we talking about Black and brown unity, if we even having that conversation, for me that's where it starts. I'm engaging with indigenous Latinos. I'm not here to talk to the conquistadors and the Eurocentric ones. I'm here to talk to those that ancestors been on this land for thousands and thousands of years. You know what I mean? And then you have your Afro Latinos, descendants of enslaved people, no different than us as Black Americans. The ship just went somewhere else. That also can be a twofold thing to where like one parent is of African descent and the other parent is of indigenous descent. So you may have an African parent and an Aztec parent, and then they come together. You got yourself an Afro Latino. So that's really the primary makeup of the Latino community. Now where it gets kind of dicey is because a lot of people in the Latino community are more so a blend of each one of these races. So the perfect example of that, like if the Latino community wants to live under this delusion of we can all just be happy under the umbrella of our ethnicity, the one country that is pretty much a perfect example of that is Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? I'm not claiming that Puerto Ricans are perfect or anything like that, but they are the best example and they had the best track record of really blending all three of those primary racial groups together and falling under that umbrella. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see Puerto Ricans that could look like me, the next one could look like George Lopez, and then the other one could look like Rico Suave, and they all be fucking brothers. Because Puerto Rico kind of found like a good balance to understanding that, and the majority of people are kind of like split up evenly between being indigenous, having some African descent, and having your European descent. But when we look at Latinos that are like Ashley Gonzalez, those are your conquistadors, those are your Eurocentric ones, and people have got to understand that these are basically white people that speak Spanish, bro. And people go, oh no, but you know what I'm saying? And yeah, you got a blend, like I said, you got a blend or whatever the case may be. But this is where the colorism comes in to where, oh yeah, they may be like, oh well, my grandma is, indigenous or whatever the case may be. But yeah, your grandma married basically some Eurocentric Latino, and now basically over time, no different than like we talk about the Patrick Mahomes effect in the Black community, it's the same thing. The kids and stuff start becoming more Eurocentric. So these are basically white people that speak Spanish. And when you look at like these Latinos that be in Miami and they super racist, And you know what I mean? These are just white people, bro, and they just speak a different language. And the reason why, you know, they deal with problems from white people here in the U.S. is really more so they dealing with xenophobia and nationalism than racism or anything like that. But when you're talking about your indigenous Latinos, you're talking about, you know, your Afro Latinos, that's where we're talking about the possible black and brown unity more so than indigenous Latinos. The Afro Latinos, they are brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? You see them, you're talking about people in Panama, Brazil, all that type of shit. Those are our brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? But when we talking about black and brown unity, for me, it starts at indigenous Latinos. Now, you got your mestizos in there, you know, it could be a little mix or whatever, but I'm not talking to no Eurocentric Latinos. You know what I'm saying? They just white people that speak Spanish. So we have to really have this understanding that the Latino community is really a broad spectrum, and we have to be more direct on who we talking about. We talking about these conquistador ass Latinos, bro. Basically, white people that speak Spanish. No different than the white people here in the U.S.
Ashley Gonzalez is absolutely a representation of the Latino community. Like, what are y'all fucking talking about? You can front to the black folks and the white people, but we can have this conversation and use this as an opportunity to crack that shit open within our realm. And I'm talking every Latino across the fucking continents. Everybody, all of us have this disease. Because you're not gonna fucking lie and act like we don't come in every fucking shade and every flavor, and there's still racial caste systems in every fucking one of our communities. Right? You're not gonna act like mejorar la raza isn't something that's still fucking taught and perpetuated. You're not gonna act like Ashley Gonzalez doesn't sound like somebody's fucking grandma talking about, ay, que bueno que salió con el pelo bueno, when a new grandbaby comes up, or a fucking auntie telling somebody to keep her kids out of the fucking sun because they're getting a little too fucking dark. That shit's pervasive and it's all over the fucking place. So, I mean, it's a great fucking time to pop that shit open, sanitize.
Ashley Gonzalez reminds us of the anti-blackness, colorism, and racism towards black people that exists in our communities. Not only is this about condemning the actions of Ashley Gonzalez and all of her hateful racist comments, it is about holding our friends, our family members, and other people in the community accountable. Do you know of any of your family members or friends who casually use the N-word? Are you doing anything to stop them? Are we continuing the erasure of Afro-Latinx and Black Latinx people in our communities? Are we holding ourselves accountable for the anti-blackness and racism towards Black people that exists in Latinx, Latina communities? Are we forcing other Latinx, Latina creators to speak out against the racism clearly displayed by Ashley Gonzalez? Let's not make this about how you're not individually racist, but about the ways that anti-blackness and racism towards Black people exist in our communities. Especially because Ashley Gonzalez was a police officer and directly affects the lives of Black people in Houston, we need to hold ourselves accountable to not allow this type of racism to exist and to condemn those in our communities who say these things.
I think the thing that's making me more upset about the Ashley Gonzalez situation is not the actual situation itself, because that, you know, I'm used to people being racist behind closed doors. That's why she posted it on her close friends, not her main. 2, it's all the Latino community who were in the comments talking about some, oh, it's not all of us though, it's not all of us though. So what do you think that you just accomplished by saying that? Because obviously we know that it's not all of y'all. We know that, and I'm not defending the people that are generalizing to the whole Latino community, because obviously we know that it's not all of y'all. However, I know that there's somebody in your family who is racist. Like, there is at least one person, even if it's not verbally or out loud, behind closed doors, they discriminate Black people, and that's the truth. And we literally saw the results of that because they did not want to elect a Black woman into the presidential office. Like, it's just, instead of taking the accountability and taking the time to not only inform yourself, to acknowledge it, you're dismissing the idea that there's a possibility that your community can be racist towards Black people just because you aren't. And that's not cool. Like, you literally, we see it. It's like a normal thing. Almost every single POC community has people in it that are racist towards Black people. Why? I don't even know, because everybody gets discriminated against by the white man. That's period, point blank. So for you to sit up here and be like, oh, it's not all of us, it's not all of us, that's BS, because you know for good and well that it's a good majority. And I know personally, I've witnessed it personally, people saying the N-word in places like California, especially LA, New York, Florida. Like, they will say the N-word like it's their word. It's not your word to use. I don't care what context you're using it in. I don't care if you're not using it against black people or you're using it with your friends. That is not a word that you need to be using, because how would you feel if black people put the B word in their vocabulary and used it in their regular vocabulary? It doesn't feel good, right? And you call us out on it. So allow us to call out your community for being racist and using a racist word.
That video of that Houston police officer, Ashley Gonzalez, going on her racist rant about how she pretty much despises black people, saying the N-word. Pretty much every other word out of her mouth was the N-word. It was not surprising to me at all, because so many Latinos have that sentiment. They are the most colorist, racist group of people I have ever encountered. And of course, I'm not saying all Latinos, but a good fucking amount of them are really like that. So it's nice to just have that video at the forefront, have a conversation like they really don't like us black people at all. And coming from someone who has 2 kids with a Latino, with a Mexican man, being in that whole culture for over a decade, it was very eye-opening. I wouldn't have expected them to be so racist, not specifically his family, but just being around others, and just wasn't a good time. And you would think them being a minority group themselves that they would be more open and accepting. Nope.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.